Bitcoin is going to demonetize real estate. A house is not supposed to be a savings account. It's not supposed to be what you exchange labor for. You acquire a house to consume it and live in it. It's not a money. Unfortunately, because the world has been robbed of money, robbed of the market good that they're supposed to save and exchange in, and that market good has been manipulated and debased and controlled, people have had things like real estate as money. And so real estate is distorted. It's artificially expensive. And so Bitcoin will dematerialize that for all of the money that's in real estate, not to consume it, but rather to save in it. That money will go to Bitcoin over time. And what that will do, Bitcoin price up, and it'll drive the real estate prices down. Guys, when I got into Bitcoin, my dream house was 100,000 Bitcoins. And then some years later, my dream house was 10,000 Bitcoins. And then some years later, my dream house was 1,000. And then some years later, my dream house was 100. And then some years later, 10. Now, the average American home you can get for 3-4 coins. So I think within the next decade, you can get a medium-sized house in the United States for less than 1 Bitcoin. And so the best way to become a homeowner and a purchaser of land, of real estate, is to stay humble.
Was the volume going out for you guys there? Because I never know, because I have this stupid, super long earphone extension. And if it's not sitting the most perfect way on this bench, it'll go out. Yes, it was. Oh my God. Like, so that the thing is, that video is flawless, but for some reason, as it plays through Ecamm and goes live, it cuts out. Oh well, whatever. I didn't miss anything. You got the gist. That was actually Jack Mallers turned into Daisy Bitcoins, I call her, this new spokesperson for this channel. A lot of fun going on in the old world today. It's crazy. It's so funny to watch this market at the top, how people lose their minds. It's weird, and I find I fall prey to it too. I get what's going on here with my arm here with this dent here. Weird. I thought it was like a digital glitch. Anyway, I find myself getting frustrated with price action too. Like I was having a conversation yesterday with a financial advisor. And he seemed to agree with the concept of, an unpopular opinion of truth, right? What is truth? What isn't? What were we lied about? What aren't we lied about too? Like I'm under the impression that everything has been a lie, like almost everything. Almost everything. Like you bring up anything to me and I will say that's a lie. And so why would, the legitimacy of a stock market be the one truth? Everything else is a lie. Diet, education, medicine, history, government, democracy, money. It's all a lie. But the stock market's legitimacy and how it works and functions is the truth. It is a beacon of legitimate perfection when it comes to working. It isn't. So to have like something, where's this? That's a funny little thing I saw here. That's not it. That's the fear and index. With all that, it's only down to, it was 50 on Friday, right? Last time I did a video. Now it's 48. And the reason why it's only dropped 2 is because beyond the social sentiment, which is, it doesn't hit all-time high. The social sentiment goes into the stank, right? But the reason why it's only dropped 2, that's not it either, is because that massive scam wick on Sunday afternoon was just a 2% drop, according to this. Willy Woo. I remember Willy Woo from the 2021 bull run. Every clip he had, he was like there was like a super close headshot of just him and Mike. Do you guys remember that? Bitcoin OG whales to blame for Bitcoin's painful rise. Willy woo. Bitcoin suddenly dropped over 2% in under 10 minutes on Sunday, with crypto investors on X pointing to the actions of one very large Bitcoin holder. Be funny to have so much Bitcoin that you short it, dump it, buy it, rinse, repeat. Now, I wouldn't say that's illegal. It is kind of pushing your weight around, but that's why we see what's happening now. The reason why Trump and all of his children and businesses are all positioning themselves as whales in every aspect of Bitcoin and crypto is so they can do just this. Because what's the point in being, a noob normie retail lemming that's just like up and down, up and down? They want to be in the market to control the market, not to be controlled by the market. We're all pseudo controlled by the market. Market price goes up. Oh, we're in elation. Market price goes down. What's going on, right? They're in control. That's why, Bitcoin doesn't come for some, comes for all. And it'll probably get the majority of it once they start pushing their political weight around in Washington with exchanges. It might not be, they might not commandeer Bitcoin, but my prediction is that they slowly inhibit the use of it or the withdrawal of it. If you are on exchange, if you're on exchange, if you're still on an exchange in this day and age, well, I think you deserve to have your Bitcoin taken. Pianomattyb, how dare you? Well, it's true. You can't be in this long. I wrote a goddamn song about it. Not your keys, not your coin. If you're on an exchange and something happens, just be prepared to lose it, right? That being said, too, like when it comes to cold storage, it breaks the one ethos. The biggest ethos of Bitcoin which is verify, don't trust, right? But when it comes to that technology, you just kind of got to trust it. I don't know how a ledger works. Take your word for it that there's no back door. Oh, they'd never put a back door in it. No, they wouldn't. No, humans aren't that bad. Okay. Bitcoin's oldest whales may be to blame for Bitcoin's slow price action this cycle, according to Bitcoin or Willy Woo, pointing out that it now takes more than 11,000 of fresh capital to absorb every Bitcoin they sell. This is where it doesn't make sense to me, really. Like, why would a super old OG try to slow down Bitcoin's price? Is it really a nerd bomb power thing? Like if you picture the Dungeons and Dragons OG nerd bomb, like this guy right here, sleeping down there. Oh, I wasn't even on it. Couldn't even read it. There we go. It was like my subconscious was that something's wrong. Something's wrong. Anyway, now it's fixed. I was like that guy there. He's an OG whale. Do you think it's really a power play, or would he rather just the price explode to the moon? I would say he'd rather it explode to the moon than to, be a cog, like throw a stick in the front spokes of the Bitcoin cycle. I might want to control it a little more. I don't know. Bitcoins. Did you guys see? Well, I just saw Terry Crow. He says, "I can't trust no ledger. I have a used ledger nano for sale." Just kidding. I think it was Terry Crow that posted the Ben. Was that an actual Ben Armstrong video that came out yesterday? It was weird. It's weird to see. It's like nothing. He's just forget about me being in jail. Let's talk about ETH. It was weird. Bitcoin supply is concentrated around OG whales who peaked their holdings in 2011. Wu said in an X post on Sunday they bought their Bitcoin at $10 or lower. Yeah, that was Carl, right? Yeah. So why would these OG whales want to slow down the Bitcoin cycle? It just doesn't seem like something a normal person would do. Ben's back, no explanation. Very weird. I have a dark theory on it. Here's my dark theory on Ben Armstrong. When I see unremarkable people explode to heights of success not worthy of being of an unremarkable person, I feel like they're just controlled and they've been turned on. Because I remember back in the day, if you took Ben and all his friends, you know, all the people that were kind of friends with that little clique, any one of them could have been turned on and been just as, you know, think we exist in a honeypot. YouTube is a honeypot. It's like the new media, but for sure it's just a data honeypot. What are you searching for? What have you watched? You know, what are the people watching? What are the people searching for? So they have the ability, obviously, to censor, so they can put the gas down and accelerate whoever they want, and then they could put the brakes on whoever they want. We know that, right? So knowing that, we can't move forward without acknowledging that this can and probably does happen. And so when, you know, an unremarkable person gets gassed up in YouTube and becomes more successful than their wildest dreams could ever happen, they probably start thinking that it's because they're remarkable, they're significant, and they deserve more, and they're going to take control into their own hands. But really, the gas has been put on them from the real powers that be, the honeypot of YouTube. And so once they get a little bit too big for their bridges, so to speak, let's say they're no longer really controlled. They're not being tempted by. So when you go from, one of the downfalls, I think, of that channel with Ben was that when the money started flowing, he said yes to everything. So as a tiny YouTuber like me will get 10 emails a day about affiliate links, right? Then they would probably all change the income of this channel remarkably. I'm going to use that word again. But I'm not going to take lamb to the slaughter. Now, when you're not a remarkable person and the money starts flowing, you take everything, then you get kind of a certain amount of economic freedom. You know, you don't have to do certain things certain ways. You know, I'm going to do them my way now, right? And then I think they just shut them off, and then they ran them through a shame cycle. I think they gas up people they know that they can just destroy, right? That's why they would take an unremarkable person and make them super powerful, and then shut him off when need be, run him through the shame cycle. He's crazy. You put him in mental institute, rip him up, rip his family away. Like this all stems from, you don't think people are that bad. I don't. I think the majority of people are good, but there's a small percentage of people that are horrifically more sadistic and horrible than we can even fathom, because we are good people. There's always lines that we'll stop at. Anyway, Willie Woo says, why is Bitcoin moving up so slowly? Cycle Bitcoin supply is concentrated around OG whales who peaked their holdings in 2011. Orange and dark. There it is, the orange and dark. They bought their Bitcoin at $10 lower. It takes $110K of new capital to absorb each Bitcoin they sell. Well, I guess the good news is that there seems to be enough buying power to absorb, if the concept of paper Bitcoin is a huge fallacy. Now, there's always weird things that come out in a bull run, you know, like certain narratives, certain conspiracies, certain theories. This one has been paper Bitcoin. And now the good in us will say, there's no such thing as paper Bitcoin. This is a new era of trust and money, and it's just not going to happen the way it did before. Okay. I like to think that too. I do like to think that too. However, when you let the cool kids into the party, the cool kids trash the party. So a lot of the aspects, the social decorum we had within this industry is now a little bit perverted with the introduction of the big money players, right? Because they're not gonna come to the party and sit on like a wallflower, and listen to your music, and drink your booze or your food you put out. They're gonna come in and they're gonna put someone to change the music and then drink all your booze and then put their booze in there, then have you buy their booze because your booze is gone, etc., etc. Whale blame for Bitcoin flash crash to 112. It comes as it's now 110. Now it's 109. It comes as the crypto community pointed to a long-time Bitcoin whales rotation out of Bitcoin for Ether to explain Bitcoin's 45 billion market cap plunge on Sunday. Now, at the end of the day, too, when it comes to this amount of money, and like we can all have our opinions on what we would do with, $70 billion in Bitcoin. Was it? Let's say that I got that number wrong and it's only 7 billion, right? 7 billion dollars in fiat, right? That amount of money to throw to manipulate on a Sunday low volume just for fun. I can see it happening now, that I'm really thinking about it with that type of money. We wouldn't do it, because we don't have that much Bitcoin to push around. But if you did, it becomes a little bit of a game. Whatever happened to that guy that was on Hype? Remember everyone was hunting him about a month ago? That got my scam spidey senses tingling. Who would do that? Maybe someone unremarkable, looking for significance. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm gonna waste $100 million. I'm living in my mom's basement, so it doesn't really matter. The flash crash saw Bitcoin fall almost 2.2% from 114 at 7:31 to 112 in 9 minutes. Bearing in mind, it's a 2% dump. It's violent when it happens, but when when the investigators come and they start taking notes, they're like, yeah, 9 minutes, 2%. What's the problem here? Right? We forget. ETH also fell a sharp 4% from $5,000 to 4,700 over the same time frame. Both cryptocurrencies recovered about half of the losses incurred in the flash crash. Now, things will get deeper, and we are now in a channel of descension. I put this in this morning. You can see how that lines up perfectly. So these generally break to the upside, right? So I feel more comfortable on a channel of descension where we are now as late in the game. We're pretty late in this summer bummer. And now the end of the ride is like the climax of the movie. It's all the shit's going to hit the fan in the next few weeks. So it's just really a buckle up, respecting the doodly money. Yeah. Well, this is where, this random doodle says we would drop to. Where were we? Back here? Oh, right here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because of this bear flag, which, played out. We'll come down here, maybe sit around here, panic, and then off to the moon. Now, this is the 4-hour chart. So she's a noisy little so-and-so. But really, the next 114, 115 seems like a distant memory, doesn't it? 115K. Oh, that was a great half an hour last week that it was 115K. But that's where we have to basically explode out of. Where does the doodle say? 114.8 is what the doodle says. Now we've kind of gone a little bit past the doodle. And so it'll still hit. However, on the daily, it has a little more of a darker tone, actually, to tell you the truth, because we have this bear flag. This is the pole. Play out to that 102 that we were talking about on the 20th of August, which would put us around the 200 moving average, which is normal when we have a pullback, a full healthy pullback. None of these, 2025 10% pullbacks. We're talking about a real pullback that hurts, that makes you question your existence again. No one's asking you about Bitcoin anymore. You've lost that little pep in your step that is what happens at the 200 moving average. And last time we were underneath it was in April at 88K. So think about that. 88K in April. Now to be under it, to actually legitimate be under it, would be 100K. And that's where that plays out. So this little doodle would take us down there in September. And then we would just ride the light fandango all September, just, licking our wounds. You can imagine the headlines of the Bitcoin cycle over. And I don't remember. XRP says Ben's new video is nothing special, if I'm being honest. Yeah, well, the reason why it's nothing special is because if we go down my dark theory, he was given walking papers. If you want to do this again, this is what you have to do. And you can't be this, you can't be that, but he can only be this and that. His brand is crazy and ranty, and people on YouTube like to watch that. They like to watch unhinged losers, right? And so if he can't do that, and he's got to just be a normal, like, calm person in the car talking about ETH. Well, that's not the Ben that we signed up for. We want a ranty, angry mental institution guy who's losing his family as we speak. We want to see the house burning in front of us. Anyway, September, we would sit here and just until October. And I have this on the 1st of October, but realistically, October will probably be pretty bad for a week or two. Now, I hope it doesn't, but generally, because October 1st, we just think it's October 1st, ta-da moon, when really it doesn't really happen like that. But it could, and I hope it does. Will it? I don't know. I do. We want green dots. Fire it up. Fire it up. Want green dots. Fire it up. Do I have that ready to go? No, I don't. Oh, well. You can't handle the green dots. Ben, I was wondering if you had, any thoughts on green dots.
You know what we do here? We win all the time. Fire it up. Fire it up. Somebody said relying on green dots. Come on, man. If you don't think these green dots work, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You are an absolute idiot. Fire it up. You are a loser. You continue to lose. Yeah, let's check that out, guys. Let's check that out. Fire it up. That's kind of the definition of what happens to people in life who we call losers. They always feel like the one time that they try the thing, it doesn't work. The one time they try it, it doesn't work. You lost money on one trade. You look so small at the micro moments in life. And you take experience from that and you cast it across an entire range of time or experience. That's why you're losers. That's why you're losers. That's why you're losers. That's the kind of person who will never be successful in life, will never be successful in anything. Because you're too narrow-minded and short-sighted and idiotic to see what's right in front of you. Because you're too narrow-minded and short-sighted and idiotic to see what's right in front of you. Yeah, they don't work. Let's go back. Let's look at the chart here. Get out of here, Gizmo. Yeah, I hate Gizmo. I love Gizmo. He's so dang cute. I want a Mogwai. Let's go look. Let's see if they play out. Let's look at these patterns and let's see if they played out. This December of 2019, aka the entire bull run. I know y'all like when I do that. Bull run. Boom. Bull run. Boom. I can't even call you what I want to call you because it's not politically correct. Do you know what we do here? We win all the time. Do you know what we do here? We win all the time. 184% gain. Oh, just a 64% gain over 2.5 months. Idiot. 2.5 months. Boom. 548% gain. Why don't we go to the next one? Why don't we go check out the next one? Let's go. Here it is, right here on the chart. You guys see it. Next one. Yeah. Come on, man. Come on, rely on the green dots, you idiot. Let's check out the next one. Here we go. Boom. Next one. Only 128% gain. Only 120% gain. This is why you're a loser. This is why you continue to lose. This is why You don't make money in crypto. This is why you come in for 3 months and then you disappear like the vermin that you are, and you don't come back in. And you don't come back in. And you don't come back in. Because you're so idiotic that you can't look at a chart over a 2.5 year period of time and see how much it works. I get so tired of people coming to this chat and say stupid crap like that. Your parents are disappointed in you, sir. Because you haven't done anything with your life.